One of the most important jobs of a landlord is to keep their tenants safe. When I first purchase a property, before I rent it, I usually walk around at nighttime and see if there's any areas that need to be lit up. I want to make sure that there's adequate lighting around that property. I also make sure that all of the locks on the windows work properly. And one of the most important things is the entry points. I want to make sure that the entry doors are secure. You don't want your next tenant to be worried about the previous tenant giving out any keys to crazy ex-boyfriends or girlfriends and them having a copy of that key. That certainly wouldn't make them feel secure. So I always changed my locks out whenever I have a tenant turnover. I used to go and get those lock sets at Lowe's. They come in 2, 3 or more lock sets that are all matching, key to like. But that really got to be a difficult process to switch those locks out, the full lock set, whenever I had a tenant turnover. Plus I had to store extra locks places, and it was very difficult keeping track of the different keys from all the different properties. So after a little bit of research, I stumbled upon LandlordLocks.com. I love this product so much that I wanted to make a demo on it. It's helped me tremendously with my tenant turnovers. So let's go ahead and watch this video. I use the same locks and handsets for all of my properties. The only reason this set is mismatched is because I don't have any vacancies right now, but I wanted to make this video, so I had to put together some pieces that I had sitting around. So I have one master key that fits all of my properties, and the tenants have their own keys that only fit the cylinders in their property. So whenever there's a tenant turnover, I have this special key that goes along with my master key, and I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but it has a little notch on it there. And that's the one I want to use whenever there's a tenant turnover. I slide that in the cylinder, rotate it not quite 180 degrees, around to about 2 o'clock, and then I pull that out just like that. Now this cylinder I'll take out and I'll move it toward another property at a later date. And that way the current tenants moving in don't have to worry about someone else from one of the previous tenants giving out keys that they don't want showing up entering their own property. Now before I insert that next cylinder, I'll use this spray that they have, a lubricant, and I'll spray really good in there just to make sure it's lubricated well. I've had problems in the past where after a little over a year or so, you try to pull the cylinders out and they're stuck, and you have to loosen the screws in order to get them out. But since I started using this lubricant, that hasn't happened. So I will put a new cylinder in that's just gone out of rotation, and I will slide it in here like this and rotate the key, and it's done. So as you can see, this was much faster than changing out the entire lock set. I'm able to do this in just a few seconds. And I use the same keyed cylinder for all doors in that same property, with the exception of my multi-unit properties. With them, they make a special lock that has a common entrance lock, so each tenant will have their own key and it will fit the common entrance as well as their own personal door. And that common entrance key will also get into the basement and the garage. But the tenant keys won't open up each other's locks, obviously. And then I have my case here that has all my keys in it, and these are labeled for my own reference, but there's no connection between these keys and the properties without looking into my encrypted file on my computer. So there's no way someone could steal these keys and get access to those properties. I also keep this locked in my fire safe. Now here's something that's really neat. This one here is a special cylinder it's called a contractor cylinder. So when I'm doing a rehab on a property and I'm not doing all the work myself, sometimes I'll have someone come in and do painting, maybe inspect the furnace or flooring or whatever. I put this special contractor lock in the cylinder so that they already have these keys. They each already have these keys, and they can come over to whichever door that cylinder is in, and they can gain access to the property to do their work and then lock it right back up when they leave. When the work is done and I'm ready to rent the property, I remove this contractor cylinder and put the tenant one back in. Here's another thing that's really neat that they have there at the Landlord Locks. For sheds or garages, or maybe you have to secure a property real quick, they have these real heavy padlocks. These are a real heavy gauge steel. And you can key this to your contractor lock or your master, which I think that's pretty cool. One key fit all, so I can use this to unlock these padlocks as well. Very nice product there. And there you have it. There's my demo of Landlord Locks. I love this system so much, and I highly, highly recommend it to all landlords, especially toward those that are just starting out. You really want to conquer this problem of this key problem before it becomes a nightmare. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button and subscribe, and that way you will catch all of the future episodes of The Compulsive Investor.